Okay, today is 15th December 2020. This meeting will be recorded, so don't say nothing that you might not feel comfortable to be available in the internet. Let's start. Okay, the first one is this issue. Okay, we have not just this user, but another one's requesting for we updated the image of the kube proxy. This kube proxy that we use came from this project. We don't have automated process to build the image and push to the Google Cloud for we are able to put in the project. So the first thing that we need to do that was agreed was looking for, see if we can automate this process. So when a new release be made in the project, the build and the image will push automatically. The other point is, I believe that for the old, the images that was already released, we will still needing to do this manually. Here has all explanations, and I didn't have time enough to check how we can automate it, but I check here the workflow that is used in the repo to build and push the image when a new tag is created in the project, for the project. Maybe this user will try to help. Some questions, inputs.
I think we can just mark this as triage accepted.
Would you like to get the responsibility to work in this one? No, so I'm moving forward. Okay. The next one is from Adil. I believe that he is here. Feel free.
Yeah. Well, basically, we already did it for version 2. I think we can close this one. We already have it for version 3 and also for version 2. There is I don't think there's the release done yet, but the pull request that affects this issue is already submitted and merged in the version 2 branch. So I think that we can close this one.
What about for version 3? Are we waiting until we cut another branch?
Yeah, I think we can actually do it right now if we want, because I think you already, Eric already cut a new branch for version 3, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we may be able to do it already for version 3.
So should we close it now or just when we merge the change in the V2 range? I'm thinking we have a pull request. I think it's merging.
Yeah, that part is merged. I'm not sure if we did a release with version 2.3.2, but I think it's ready.
Okay, so from here has nothing else that we would do, just the release.
Or for version 2.3.2, yes, only the release.
Okay, so I will make a note change it. I will note this after before we close. The next one. I understand that the user would like to add a plugin in what we use to do the documentation to allow export the docs in PDF format, which for me shows okay. I doesn't know if someone tried to do that before, if someone has an objection or input that you'd like to share, or if someone would like to try to achieve this goal and address this. Okay, so
Yeah, I think we can tag this as like help wanted and just move on unless anybody has a particularly intense desire to work on it. It looks like from the comment there's some work to do, and I don't think it's particularly high priority at the moment.
Agree. Okay, this one we have now the component config, and then this task would be like to investigate if it would be hard, if it would be a good feature, enable and disable the component via the edit command. I put here a few things that the edit command would need to do. Yeah, the scaffolds that should be required to update it. Do you think that it would be hard to keep it maintained, or we can keep this one open if someone would like to try to work on that?
I think the problem with this one is the same that we have been mentioned in past meetings, where we don't really want to replace parts of code that have already been scaffolded because we don't know if the user already modified something there. So I think the problem here is if we want to enable or disable it automatically with a command, we would have to change part in main, and we can't assure that the user hasn't changed it. So I think that's the main issue with this one.
Yeah, I mean, in general, like once you scaffold something, I like the idea of just having the user being able to own and customize the whole project, and KubeBuilder making as few assumptions about what the project structure looks like after that as possible. And who knows what they might have changed in the meantime here. I mean, like you've listed here, making changes to disable component config is pretty straightforward. It's only uncommenting and commenting a few lines. And I think the tutorial for enabling component config goes through pretty thoroughly what you need to do to enable it. So disabling it should be just the reverse of that.
Okay, so this one, yeah, I think maybe the main will be hard to update it. If someone customizes it, will face the problems. The others no. But I agree that it's not so hard to do manually via the tutorial. So I think it's fine. We close this one. I will make a note of this and do that after the meeting as well. Unless someone has another objection, I don't think so. So let's move forward for the next one. I think the author is here. Would you like to do overview about the issue?
If I don't remember I think that the force option will only bypass the check where we were basically when we want to scaffold a new API, we were checking if that API was already tracked in the project config file, and the force flag, the only thing that does is uh, skipping that check. But if we want to scaffold files that are already present, there's gonna be issues, and I don't know how we can solve that.
Yeah, actually, it has a pull request already, and KubeBuilder has a utility where we can say if you want to override the file here. So we can say like overwrite, rewrite the file, which for me shows fine.
Hey, since we have a PR already, I think you can probably just triage accepted.
Okay.
That seems reasonable enough to me.
Yeah, for me as well. I just should like to check if it's someone.
I mean, you can destroy parts of the code that the user has done, but you're actually setting a flag to force it. So I don't
Yeah.
see that much of a problem there.
Yeah.
Okay, this one I raised it just before we decided if we should support the plugins one version behind or two versions behind, and they documented that. I doesn't know. Do you think that this is something that we should bring in the other meeting, or would you like to discuss anything here?
I think this is more of content for Thursday meeting.
Okay, so I think we can just triage accept and I am raising the other meeting as well. I will assign it to me, otherwise I will forget. Okay. This one it's about the release. Should we create a book V3 branch as well? Since we have the book V1 and V2, should we have the V3 too? What do you think, folks?
I think we should probably mark this as triage accepted. I think discussion should go on in the main. I think it's worth discussing, which is basically what triage accepted is, I think.
Okay. This one was raised for this folk. He'd like that we scaffold a README that explain the making targets. He has another issue as well for you. We put the help. I doesn't know if the README is required if we, using Agile help in the make file. So what do you think, folks?
I think
Yeah.
that. Go ahead.
Oh. No, you go ahead.
I'm like, I would prefer to have all the documentation in the book instead of a README file that is scaffolded with the make file. Maybe we can link in the make file in a comment to the book where the information for that version is or something like that. But I think that we should keep the documentation in the book.
I'm kind of a similar mindset. I think we should. I think it might be worth like adding a message to the end of the scaffolding process that says like run make help or check out the book for more information, but like just so that we make it obvious that make help is there. But yeah, I kind of agree.
So I'll put it, I think it has, let's choose one. Can we say that we accepted the making help stuff? Because then we can insert this one like with this. So after
What's gonna make help do? Print the same
help of the
documentation as the book?
let's see if I can share something. I will share my screen for you. Sure. So for example, here in SDK, we use it making help. And then we have the documentation in the help of the making file targets. So pin data, blah, 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 build, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So how to do that? We can, why is help? I can put the information there how to use it, but it's like we add to start it and some metadata with the comments like in here.
Okay, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it reads the comments off the targets.
So it's fine for you folks. Press the button after I can put text here. So this one is to do the help one. I think is Triage accept. Someone would you like to us to take this one?
I can be.
Is this adding the help to the make file?
Yeah.
I could do it too. Either one.
And now
Let's see.
I cannot find you here.
Maybe I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
It would be JM Rodri if it was.
You'll put it here and just sign it to you after. I can ping you. I know you. I know. Okay, Triage accepted. Then we can close that one as well. Maybe put what do you think about we can check this after, but When do the help, just add at the end of the command the message and close both. It should be nice.
That makes sense.
Now, choose one, the next one, it's about to use the index field. So we have in the documents, choose get indexer. Here has, where is the explanation? I believe it's on the top. Here has the explanation about why it is adding. It's more to optimize and show how to optimize the scenario of the tutorial. But I'm not sure if I got what the user are looking for, do you know? So it is more to help the user understand the problem and see how we can help them.
Yeah, I think this already has kind support, so we can just move over it. Not triage accepted, because it's
Sorry.
it's not like a bug. I think the user,
Triage.
like the user put kind support on it.
Needs information.
Yeah, if we're unsure how to answer the question, I guess needs information.
We could also skip kind support from the Triage meeting.
Yeah,
Anything
I kind of feel like we should probably do that.
Okay.
I'll probably bring this up at the main meeting, but we also might just want to consider turning on discussions, because that is something we can turn on now, and just migrating support into discussions. Once you turn them on, I think there's a button that lets you just flip an issue into a discussion, or vice versa, I think.
Doesn't you have, would you like to write one? Discussions. Would you like to edit this label?
What did you say?
I didn't get where is the button discussion? Sorry.
Oh, it's not turned on yet, so we can just leave it with kind support for now, and we'll deal with it later.
Okay. Sorry. I'm lazy today. Someone anyway, would you like to assign a choose one for themselves and see if you can help the user? Nope. So
Camila can assign it to me.
okay, Barsh. I cannot find you here. Let's see if I can.
It's VRS. I'll take a note of this and assign it myself. No worries.
Did you find yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it for myself there. So review after. Okay, this one is from Eric. Would you like to explain, to describe?
Yeah. The KubeRback proxy is a nice solution to protecting the metrics endpoint. I was just posing a network policy as a replacement for that, because it's a K8's native resource and just requires you to scaffold a manifest that specifies controller manager pods and prevents ingress from any pod outside of the controller manager's namespace. The drawback here is if you don't have the some particular network plugin that supports network policies, then this won't work. I guess the counterpoint is, if you're using a different network plugin, do you care about restricting network access to pods? I don't know the answer to that question, but this would work for clusters that use the I think the default supported plugin in a Kubernetes cluster. I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, is there a reason this is better than kubeRback proxy?
Not exactly better. It's different, and it also reduces the number of dependencies that we have on external projects, and I think reduces the complexity of the overall KubeBuilder project, because users don't have to think about configuring this whole like kubeRback proxy thing and learning about how to use that or remove it. If you want to remove the network policy, then you can just comment out some like customized resource line. And the other thing is that kubeRback proxy requires you to create token requests, whereas network policy automatically limits ingress for various segments of a Kubernetes cluster. So, and there's like very good documentation on how to use network policies upstream.
I kind of like using a built-in solution instead of using a dependency like kubeRback proxy. And I think it would be nice to have it, but the discussion about it, maybe it's not for today's meeting. It's more for Thursdays. But I do like the idea.
Okay, let's mark this as like, I guess, triage accepted, and then just write down we should discuss it in a meeting.
I'll put this on the agenda.
Thank you, Eric. I will assign to you, so let's see. Justify, be helpful. Okay, the next one. This one was added by myself. It's mainly for, we have Edge, a scaffold, a target to link to the projects that are built with the tool. It was, we have a issue where which was closed by the bot, but it was done a long time ago, asking the same, because if you try to link, apparently, maybe if you try to link the projects that are built with the tool, they are not passing now. So if we add the link, we can provide this feature for the users, help them following good practices, and then also ensure automatically by the CI that the project's, the scaffold is linked, you know. What do you think, folks?
I think we already talked about this in one of the pull requests, in one of the issues. The thing about adding a Golang C link to the scaffolded project has an issue in that we are supporting a third-party library for the scaffolded projects, and that would be an issue in case any other linter wants to also add its own. So I think there are some repercussions over there. It's not the same as if we use it for our internal use, but we are scaffolding it for projects for users. So I think there are some issues there, and I also think we should discuss this on Thursday, on a Thursday meeting, when more people are around.
Agreed.
Okay, so just to catch the problem and the concern is like the supertilage because we would need to support the Golang CI. So I catch that. I'll make a note for me and put the summary after. And adding the other meeting as well. I think this one is the other one that we spoke. I raised this one to see the opinions of the community. What about we integrate automatically the projects, leave the scaffold to integrate automatically with covers? If it is would be good, or maybe a plugin after the second phase to provide that shows that it would be nice a plugin, but also people spoke about using another one, which is the codec. What is the other project? It's this one. Oh, code IO.
I I I don't think we should be scaffolding out a hosted service specific stuff.
And here's a plugin. Do you think that should be a problem as well? Like something optional?
I think someone else outside of the KubeBuilder project could maintain the plugin.
Okay.
I don't think it should be in the KubeBuilder project.
It's one of the things that we mentioned in the discussion, that in case this can be done easily with a plugin, and the plugin shouldn't be hosted by us as the KubeBuilder owners, but as the owners of the hosted service. For example, if Coveralls wants to have a plugin that does this, we can help them develop the plugin. It would be really easy, but it should be their responsibility and not ours.
Okay, Angel, why you suggested the code Cove against coveralls? What is the advantages? Because now we use the coveralls in the tool as well. Should we move on? I'd like to know what is the motivations to use another one.
I haven't used any of them outside of KubeBuilder, so I don't have a strong opinion. But I've heard people is migrating towards the other one. Like, I don't know the reasons, but also, if I'm not mistaken, Core Ranger also suggested it was the one suggesting the other one. So I don't know the reasons, but I think people are migrating, and we should study it at least.
Okay, so anyway, it would not be because I would like to, provide some helpers to users, see if we could provide some helpers, because besides to be so simple for us, scaffold, sometimes they doesn't know how to set up the GitHub actions, or they would like to get something done instead to do by themselves. So this was the motivation mainly.
I think that's where I think that's getting a little bit broader than the scope of KubeBuilder. Especially since a lot of KubeBuilder projects aren't GitHub hosted or aren't open source.
Okay. And the cheese one is the other one that I raised. You know, if we should consider to move it to use it is another one. Since it was raised some suggestions about this. That shows that nobody has a strong opinion or has. So please see.
I mean, if the current thing is working, I don't see any reason to move.
I give you a look in both. Shows that the cover is still the most used. But I saw a lot of people saying good things about this one, but I I never tried to use it, so I don't know the advantages. So for me, it's fine, keep it as it is now, and we can always change in the future, unless someone disagree. Shows fine. Close this one. We are near to finish. This one, it's very simple. I noticed that some files that we have, we merge the files without the license. So it will be just to put a check to ensure in the CI that any new file has the license header. We can basically copy and paste the ACG key one to the project because it does the same. Any objections? Someone would you like to take choose one?
Seems reasonable. I would just mark it as help wanted and triage accepted.
Good first issue.
Sure. We could actually, we might just want to migrate this to the KubeBuilder, potentially to the KubeBuilder release tools repo, so we can just use this across all of our repos. Actually,
Yeah, probably. It's a bit different to the GitHub action that we have right now, in the sense that this has to check the files, while the action right now is only checking the description and the title. But I think that we can include that also somehow in the action.
yeah, we can add a second action or something too. We could add like a folder for like, and an action for like, these are the things that are probably useful to run like as part of your normal CI versus as part of your like as part of the description checks.
Sure. The only difficulty I see there is both actions in the same repo will be having this a problem with the versions, or I mean, maybe one updates and needs a version update, and that will cause the other action to have a version update without having any change or something like that. I'm not sure how we can handle multiple actions with separate versions in the same repo. We'd have to check that.
We can also just put the script in there and just be like, copy the script in too. At any rate, I think this would be useful.
Okay, move on. Okay, this one's mine as well. Okay, before the V3 alpha, to install, if you're going the quick start to install the KubeBuilder, then we download the binaries that are required for the env test globally. And we need the sudo permissions to install in this place. Okay. And then when we run the tests in the idea or outside of the making file target, we are able, they will work because the binaries are globally. But now this doesn't work outside of the making file tests, which is like a bug, a regression, in my opinion. And the users are unable to troubleshoot and debug the project in IDEA, for example, and you'll face this error, which is, in my personal opinion, not too intuitive. Since this stuff is not very clear for everyone. So a possible solution would be we add this in the scaffolds. We have a pull request for that. And this, in my opinion, would be not, you'll not cover all stuffs because it will still requiring that you run the making test to download the binaries to the bin directory of the project, as we have today. So a second option that you will cover all could be a follow-up, something that we can discuss. We can merge this one and solve the problem. And if this one face the problem, just to say run the make test to get the binaries and then have fun. However, it is, in my opinion, is not very understandable. So it's hard for the users keep maintained after the scaffold is made. Then I would prefer something like that, as suggested by Solly in TSPR. And we have a TSPR that should cover all scenarios.
So I have some opinions on this, but would anybody else like to discuss what theirs are first?
It's clear. Could I explain the issue, the problem? It's clear for everybody.
What I understood is that you are unable to run the tests because the binaries of the dependencies are not downloaded if you don't run make test.
Yes, we need to run the make test and the make it with the make test is works because we have this part here, setup env test that you force the path of the binaries in the env, but it's not in the code, so it's not in the scaffold code. So when you run the test is outside of the making file test target, the env test is unable to know the path to find the binaries and you'll fail with its message.
So I think the tooling approach is interesting. I actually didn't see that. I would just like to point out that all of these dependencies that we're talking about right here are specific to mtest, which is controller runtime owned. And I've mentioned this in the past, but I think that this should be a controller runtime issue, and there should be a library around handling the installation and usage of these binaries.
Okay,
so that would prevent us from having a lot more. What?
This is about the second solution, but the first part is like, okay, no matter who provides the binaries, we need to start to scaffold here. If you don't have in the global path, then take it from the bin, you know.
Well, my question is, why do we even have to have this in KubeBuilder at all? Why can't this be like some control runtime library? I don't want to get too deep
How
into the weeds here,
you,
but I don't think that
but it is
I want to see
unable
this
to
kind of.
be. How you will put it is in the controller runtime. The controller runtime, you know, don't how controller runtime you handle that.
Yeah,
With loading rules.
Yeah, if we're I mean, if we're thinking about adopting a solution that moves it towards like putting them all in like a common place, like the Go bin directory or whatever, we could definitely make those changes in controller runtime. I kind of like I kind of agree with that here, that we should maybe move this issue to controller runtime.
But then this means update controller runtime, change how the things works there. Start to release the binaries from there. Start to provide, change the implementation to, instead of look for this place, looking the Go path first, then change the KubeBuilder to install the binaries using the new implementation, the controller runtime, to install in the Go path source or in the bin of the project. So it cannot be done now, and the user is, you know, my concern about centralizing the things in the controller runtime is the maintainability. Who uses this is the KubeBuilder. So every time that we need to change in the controller runtime, and then push for the KubeBuilder to test, and then wait a controller runtime release to ship this in the tool. So I'm not completely uh, in favor to move to control runtime, but I see the points to move as well. However, I think we need to provide a solution for V3 alpha, you know. Otherwise, because the users is still a lot, we did a survey and a lot of users believe that it's not possible to troubleshoot or debug the tests. Because I believe that is because it is issue.
What was this survey?
We did a survey in SDK site, and one of the common things that the users raised was like, I would like to troubleshoot and debug the tests. And then I believe that it is the scenario, you know, because if we create the project, I will come back in the issue. If I create the project, go there in the switch test and just ask to debug in the idea, I will face the error. So I believe that this is the reason, you know. And then if the user tries to troubleshoot and check here, it will not be easier to understand as well why when you run the make test works and by the idea doesn't work or outside of that.
I think, okay, so I think first of all, kind of in order, I think if we can get away with less scaffolded code and more library code, I would prefer that. That's one of the reasons that I would prefer doing this in controller runtime, if possible. If it's just like if I think it's a reasonable idea to try to load from Go bin just kind of globally. And so I think like we could make controller runtime do that. I think we don't necessarily have to solve this until V3 comes out. Like we have the period of the alpha to work on this. So like, I'm not sure there's any rush while we're in the alpha. I think we can also probably, like in the short term, I think instead of changing what we scaffold out, like code-wise, we could maybe add a message or add some help or something. Like if the problem here is I don't know what to do when I see this error message, that's an indication that we should be changing the error message, right? Like, or like at the very least, right? Like this is a valid error message. This is, I don't know where the control plane binaries are. Did you put them in the right place? Right? Like, and so it, regardless of whether or not we make it so that this error message doesn't appear, which I think is worthwhile doing in some capacity, we should probably also make it so that this error message is more intelligible if you don't think it's intelligible.
Yes, but do you think that will be easier for the users know what's happening? With the error message, I don't know where the binaries are. They actually know that the invitation user binaries, or is like a deeper knowledge. Do you know what I trying to share? Do you know? Because imagine I'm a user, I just installed the KubeBuilder. So for I'm able to learn how to develop the tests and debug the tests, in my idea, I will need to know that the env tests in the code implementation, the control runtime use binaries, and I need to set these binaries in some place. And then know how to look at the control runtime, the documentation, to looking for what options I have to pass to place. So it's too hard, you know.
Hey, Camilla, in the interest of time, can we move this discussion somewhere else?
Sure. So I will not put anything there and leave on.
Yeah. I'm also going to open an issue in controller runtime related to
yes,
this.
I will make a note here to I raised some issues there. Like we have the issue for making the global in the goal path, change the default path to looking for in the goal path search there, in the goal path bin, sorry. And we can put another issue as well to improve the error message by sure. I agree with that. Okay, I think here we have just more one. Or we can finish now, and I doesn't know if someone would like to say something or, you know, raise some concern or question before we close. Use these last 4 minutes for that.
I'm okay going over this really quickly. What what is this referring to? Is this referring to mtest binary version?
I think so.
Well, in that case, it did just get bumped in in controller runtime 070. It is 119. So I think this can be closed out if they're using the V3 plugin, that is.
And we tagged the equivalent assets in the assets branch.
Yeah, I think they're at 119.4.
Okay. Can you double check that, Camilla, and then we can close this?
Sure.
Just like
just triage accept it for check.
Yeah.
And you check.
Yeah, or
so we have just 2, but we can leave it for the next meeting.
I can go double check.
Was too much today. Yeah, I checked this one. About this one, just to clarify, I'll check it solely, and probably I will comment here, and if it's done, I will close. No problem at all. And it's done for today. Really thank you for all your collaboration and help, folks. The next one, I think it's better we cancel because you'll be in the holidays, in the middle of the holidays week. If I'm not wrong, you'll be,
Yeah, that seems like a good plan.
yeah,
And
93.
you can go ahead and close the 119 one. The assets branch has 119.2. I just checked.
Okay. I will make a message as well, I think, for the user. And then I will close. And start.
Thanks for running the meeting, Camilla.
Really, thank you for your help. I could not do that. And have an excellent Christmas and New Year, folks.
You too. See ya.
Yeah.
See you in 2021.